Now at 9, it's election day in Kansas and Missouri. We'll have the latest results of some of the top races. Plus, the city of Joplin announces the deadline for residents to apply for city council positions and how the city of Miami, Oklahoma is already getting into the Christmas spirit.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Voters in parts of Missouri and Kansas decide local tax issues, school bonds, and city government races. We begin our coverage in Barton County, Missouri. A proposal there would impose a local use tax and reduce the sales tax. Voters said yes to that idea. A proposed 0.5% sales tax on the ballot in Girard, Kansas would help fund the fire and police departments and go to other government purposes. The yays are currently winning. Labette County, Kansas voters considered a 1% sales tax hike to relieve property taxes. That proposal looks like it will pass as the yeses have a big lead. A nearly $10 million bond proposal in Allen County, Kansas would fund improvements to the courthouse. That proposal failed. And some people voted on school bonds. In Anderson County, Kansas, a nearly $6 million proposal would pay for improvements and construction in the Crest USD 479 school district. It is currently passing. And voters in Uniontown, Kansas had 2 bond issues on the ballot for USD 235. One proposal would provide up to $5.6 million for renovations, additions, furnishings, and other improvements to various facilities. That proposal is currently failing. The other Uniontown issue was a nearly $3.5 million plan for an ag science classroom, metal shop, and construction science shop at the junior-senior high school. This one is also failing so far. We'll have more election results in a minute, but if you want up-to-date results in the palm of your hand, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And we'll provide you with the latest results on the races and issues that matter to you. Just search for the KOAM News app. Although it's an odd election year, the Director of Elections in Crawford County says voter turnout depends on what is on the ballot. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
The turnout is generally north of 20%, sometimes 25%. Kind of depends on how contested a race is. For example, this election, it seems like the USD 250 race is a little more active than I expected.
Along with school board races, Crawford County voters will also decide on bonds and council members.
And obviously their local elections affect us directly a lot more than even state or national in most cases, because these offices are interfacing with voters and the electorate on a day-to-day basis. It might be people we know.
We don't get a whole lot of choices on things, but this is, and especially on a local election. This is for city and school board. They have a little more direct contact with us.
Whether it's a national or local election, poll workers make sure to keep voting accessible through curbside voting, express balloting, and more.
It's a lot easier when we have, we can help basically anybody now. Even if you show up in the wrong precinct, we can still help you.
Reporting in Crawford County, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
You can also find election results on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, anyone interested in running for Joplin City Council seat in April of 2024 may pick up their nominating petitions from the city clerk starting next Tuesday, November 14th. Petitions must be returned to the city clerk by 5 p.m. on January 9th, 2024 to be eligible for the April 2nd, 2024 election. The council will have 4 seats on the ballot. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at your forecast.
Well, we set record highs outside for us today. Look at this, all the way up to 84 degrees during the afternoon. Old record 83. Set back in 2005, and 22 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Started at 60, so almost where our average high is for this time of the year. Now we're going to stay warm. We're going to stay windy once again into Wednesday. Then we'll start to see some changes. Look at the winds, strong southerly winds all day long, calming down a little bit. So they're kind of stay in that 10 to 20 mile per hour range as we go through the overnight hours tonight, but they are going to start to kick back up late tonight into tomorrow morning. Clear skies, not a whole bunch going on here, but we do have a cold front that's going to be heading toward us through the night. We drop back to about 64 for an overnight low. Very windy next couple days, near record highs again tomorrow, but a big temperature change by Thursday. I'm going to give you all those details coming up here in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. The city of Joplin is reminding residents that Main Street and Joplin Street will be closed Saturday morning for the 36th annual Joplin Community Veterans Day Parade. The parade begins at 10 a.m. at 15th and Main. From there, it moves north to 3rd Street, turns west onto Joplin Avenue, and then heads south to City Hall between 5th and 7th Streets. Those portions of the city will be closed off to motorists during the parade, but will be reopened by noon. KOAM today hosted its final flag swap of the year. Residents of Parsons, Kansas were able to bring their old, tattered American flags to Tolan Creek Park across from Walmart and get them exchanged for a brand new one. One of the sponsors of the event says it's a way of giving back to the community.
We absolutely had to sponsor this event, so the American Flag Swap is an important part to make sure that people can take their flags and dispose of them the proper way, and this is our way of giving back to the community, giving back to the veterans of the local Parsons area footprint.
The old flags swapped out today will be properly retired by local scouts on Veterans Day. Coming up, sounding the alarm.
A former Facebook staffer is warning parents and lawmakers. A former Facebook staffer is warning parents and lawmakers about how social media is making the mental health crisis among teens worse. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington, and I'll have that story coming up.
Looking at one more election, the race for mayor in Chetopa before we go to break. Richard Darnell is currently leading over Tammy Bushlong. Harvard Medical School researchers examined the ripple effect of gun violence on America's youth. They looked at the physical, mental, and financial toll and found young survivors have a 68% increase in psychiatric disorders and 144% increase in substance abuse disorders. On average, survivors spent more than $34,000 for health care in the first year alone after injury. CDC numbers show gun violence is now the #1 cause of death among children and teens. A former Facebook employee is sounding the alarm on why he says parents should be worried about social media and teens' mental health. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera is in Washington with the story.
Arturo Bejar is a former Facebook senior staffer, but he is also a father who's growing more worried about social media.
I appear before you today as a dad with first-hand experience of a child who received unwanted sexual advances on Instagram.
Bejar sounding the alarm on Meta today on Capitol Hill, saying the company knows its platforms are damaging teens' mental health and are putting their privacy at risk.
Instagram is the largest public directory of teenagers with pictures in the history of the world.
The things that your daughter experienced, this ring of pedophiles, rings plural, that Facebook just can't find the time for.
The explosive testimony comes as dozens of states sue the tech giant, saying it misled the public about the dangers of its platforms and contributed to the country's mental health crisis. Back in 2021, the Wall Street Journal reported that internal Facebook studies found teens, mostly girls, said Instagram was causing mental harm and body image issues. Among teens reporting suicidal thoughts, 6% of American users blamed Instagram for the desire to kill themselves.
This is an urgent crisis.
A Meta spokesperson says the company has developed dozens of safety tools and that, quote, every day countless people inside and outside of Meta are working on how to help keep young people safe online. Bejar told lawmakers that those safety tools have a long way to go, and he is calling on Congress and the company to better protect teens online. In Washington, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later with Pitt State basketball set to tip off this week, we'll hear from both the men's and women's programs about the upcoming season.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a warm one for us today. Record highs across the region. High temps all the way up into the mid 80s, which is kind of crazy for the beginning of November. It looks great outside right now. This is a live shot. This is our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. So we're looking off toward the northeast, downtown Joplin. You can still see the flags whipping around in the wind. It's going to stay breezy or windy throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. But look at these temps. We continue to warm up. Yesterday, we made it into the upper 70s and then mid 80s for highs. We only started at 60, mid 80s for highs, and I think we're going to make a run at about 80 once again as we get into the daytime hours tomorrow. All right, southerly winds. Now that the sun is set, they've calmed down a little bit, but still we're going to have winds 5 to 15 tonight and gusts a little bit higher than that. In fact, by morning, look at this. Here's 4 a.m. I think most of us will be in that gust range of 30 upwards to 40. So it's going to be a little bit windy out there. Winds calm down a little bit tomorrow afternoon. Look at the wind shift line. You got northwest winds, you got southerly winds. So a front across the region. So the winds calm down a little bit, and then they crank up again behind the front out of the north as we get into tomorrow night and into Thursday morning, and then they will start to calm down a bit. All right, 64 for an overnight low. Starting at 7 a.m., 65, 72 by 10. Of course, windy. We have clear skies across the region. We look pretty good. Not a whole bunch is going on here. We have one wave passing into the Great Lakes, not affecting us. Out to the west, here's our next wave. It's going to drag that cold front through. It just doesn't have much in the way of moisture to work with, so we mainly stay dry as we go through the rest of the week. Let me walk you through the next couple days. Mid 60s in the morning. As we continue through the morning hours, here's the noon hour. Look at this front. You can see the wind shift line diving south. Most of us near 80 ahead of it. As we go into the afternoon, the front dives through. Temperatures start to drop. We get cloud cover, which filters in as we go into the afternoon and the evening hours. Tomorrow night, we drop back upper 40s, so quite a bit cooler. And then on Thursday, a lot of clouds. I do think a few showers will track across our southern counties, but I really think most of us are going to stay dry. But notice the temperatures. We're sitting upper 50s, so this is a pretty big switch compared to what we have seen over the past couple days, and then into the upper 30s by the time we get into Friday morning. Day planner tomorrow, 70 at 9, 78 by 1, 71 dropping as we get into the afternoon. But the nice fall-like temperatures closer to where we should be return late this weekend to the weekend. Look at this, mid 60s Saturday. Weak wave passes by into Sunday. I'm going to keep it dry, but temperatures stay into the 60s. Let's go to Monday. Highs into the 60s. We see this next Tuesday. So we get a really nice stretch of very nice fall-like weather as we go through about the next 7 to 10 days. 81 tomorrow, near record highs. Let's go 59. Cooler on Thursday. 62 Friday. 66s as we head into the weekend. Should be dry, and we stay mainly into the 60s all the way through next week. Nice stretch, fall-like weather.
Beautiful weather. Thanks, Doug. As we move deeper into fall, Spire Energy wants to increase customer assistance funding in Missouri. The move comes as the energy company looks to provide more help to customers who are struggling to pay their bills amid inflation and rising costs. To this end, Spire Missouri has committed an additional $500,000 for low-income heating assistance, including weatherization and the Critical Medical Needs Program. Last year, Spire provided assistance to customers whose household incomes are up to 300% of the federal poverty level. FEMA says it plans to reimburse city and counties in Kansas that had to repair or replace facilities damaged by severe weather between July 14th and the 21st. Allen and Woodson counties are among those receiving funds. Under the plan, FEMA would cover 75% of the cost. Coming up, getting into the Christmas spirit early.
It's already Christmas time here in downtown Miami, and businesses are getting prepared. I'm Anthony Saviello. I'll have more coming up.
Christmas time is here in Miami. Business owners, in collaboration with the city of Miami, are making Miami the go-to Christmas destination this year. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more.
If you're not blasting Christmas tunes on the radio yet, then you might be behind on the festive celebrations, especially when compared to the town of Miami. Businesses along Main Street are decorating and feeling the Christmas spirit, all as a part of an effort to bring life back to the city.
One thing I've learned through the Main Street program is how important our downtown area is. When industry comes in and looks at your town and looks at what they want to put in, they look at your downtown area and your schools.
Keisha Lawson spearheads the project, and through her enthusiasm, many within the community are ready to bring Christmas back to Miami.
When Keisha came to me with it and her enthusiasm for it, she really was motivating. And it's something that the owners of chapters have always been very passionate about downtown and promoting and building downtown. And so instantly I was on board.
The revitalization of the downtown area of Miami doesn't start and stop with Christmas, but when is a better time to do this than the most wonderful time of the year?
Absolutely wonderful. It's after, like I was talking about, those little corners of teams all throughout Miami. The Miami Main Street team has worked a tremendous amount of hours and put a tremendous amount of effort into these projects. You'll see Keisha walking all over the city.
Places like the KOAM, Chapters, and the Donkey's Den are leading the charge in revitalizing downtown Miami, especially when it comes to Christmas.
So we hope to revitalize our downtown where it's something that people come for a destination and they like, Miami has the coolest Christmas stop ever, and we want to go there and we want to shop and we want to see this. And of course our families, as they grow, they're bringing their kids here generation after generation.
Don't be surprised if on your next trip down to Miami you hear a few jingle bells. Reporting in Miami, Oklahoma, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
My favorite time of the year. Christmas on Main Street festivities kick off November 17th. That's this Friday. People who visit can enter for a chance to win a $1,000 cash prize. Not bad. Well, shoppers this holiday season may be buying themselves more gifts this year. The Shopify Gallup Holiday Shopper Pulse Survey found that 64% of Black Friday or Cyber Monday shoppers surveyed plan to make purchases for themselves or their households. Of those looking to buy for themselves, 34% say they'll be looking for products they use every day, like baby or cleaning related items. That's no fun. Up next, if you've ever wanted to spend the night in a zoo, we'll tell you how that dream can come true. If you're looking for a unique holiday experience, try heading across the pond. The London Zoo is offering sleepovers from December 18th through December 30th. Guests will stay at a winter Wonderland lodge in the heart of the zoo. After checking in, they'll get an exclusive tour of the lion's den before making presents for the animals, toasting marshmallows on a fire pit, and enjoying a behind-the-scenes peek at the zoo's nocturnal residence. That'd be pretty cool. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. We'll check out some protests in St. Louis calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Plus, a church in Arkansas is taking steps to protect its congregants in the event of an active shooter.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. November 7th marks 1 month since Hamas launched a deadly and brutal attack in Israel. The latest war has taken thousands of lives and created tension around the world. St. Louis, Missouri is no exception. Justina Cornell reports.
Chants calling for a ceasefire. This is a pro-Palestinian rally on the Del Mar Loop on Sunday, hosted by American Muslims for Palestine, Missouri chapter. Naveen Aish said they've been extra vocal since October 7th.
So we were out yesterday demanding a ceasefire once again. There was also yesterday a pro-Israel rally held not too far from where we were.
Ifrat Okev was at the prayer service in solidarity for Israel.
A very peaceful rally in Clayton. Me and a couple more Israeli people decided to check out the Palestinian rally. You know, there are two sides for each story. And I wanted to show my support of Israel. I felt that our side is not heard.
Okev said that's why she brought the Israeli flag to represent.
I stood there with a flag. One lady grabbed the flag grabbed the flag from my hands, threw it on the floor, and destroyed it. And people were just laughing. I felt threatened. They told us, kill Israel, we got you. They took a photo of us, videos.
Aish spoke to Five on Your Side recalling the moment.
She was jumping around the crowd with her Israeli flag. It triggered a lot of the youth that were there, a lot of the people that were there. We're demanding a ceasefire because we are up all day. We're not sleeping. We're not eating. We're watching our families and our friends, being bombarded, being killed, being harmed.
Both women aren't seeing eye to eye. It's clear, though, they're passionate about their calling to promote change.
Right now, the top demand is a ceasefire. We want a ceasefire now. There cannot be peace until there is peace for the Palestinian people.
I hope that people really read and understand this conflict. The Middle East, it's complicated. Educate people, need to be educated, need to check their sources, do not believe everything.
Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has endorsed former President Donald Trump in his bid for a second White House term. In a statement, Sanders says, quote, "It's not a question between right versus left anymore. It's normal versus crazy." And President Biden and the left are doubling down on crazy. She went on to say that it's time to return to the policies of the Trump era, which she says created a, quote, "safer, stronger, and more prosperous America." The Supreme Court today heard arguments in a high-stakes case that pits gun rights against a federal law that seeks to protect victims of domestic violence. It's about the constitutionality of a law banning people under domestic violence restraining orders from owning guns. Legal analysts say the justices seemed receptive to the Solicitor General's arguments that the law is in line with the long tradition of courts disarming people who are considered a danger to society. A decision in the case is not expected until June. A church in Arkansas is holding active shooter training. Fox's Caroline Derby has their story.
We're all like a family. All of us are so close-knit. We talk to each other outside of just on Wednesdays and Sundays.
Sitting side by side, these friends become like family. And just like one, they want to do anything to keep each other safe.
It's perfect that we're getting the opportunity to actually learn what we should do as opposed to what we think we should do.
Gage Street Baptist Church was the center of an active shooter training Sunday. Led by LRPD officer Henry Moore, he walked members through the past, teaching them how to protect themselves in dangerous situations.
We also want to protect you.
It's something the church never wanted to include in its Sunday sermon.
But unfortunately, in the times that we're living, we found it was a necessity to have an active shooter training. It's a church. It's what we call our sanctuary. And just by virtue of the definition itself, a sanctuary is a safe place. And we want to keep our safe place a safe place.
Members say the training only brought them closer together, creating a plan for a play they hope they never have to execute.
We're hoping and praying nothing does happen, but if it does, we're happy that we'll know what to do.
The state of Oklahoma is trying to make students and school staff feel safer at school. They're launching a new app called Protect OK. It's free to use and download. It allows users to anonymously report suspicious activity within their school. There's also a feature to allow friends to track each other's locations to make sure they stay safe. A bit later, what a new report from the labor market shows about Americans working multiple jobs.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a warm one for us today. Record highs across the region. High temps all the way up into the mid 80s, which is kind of crazy for the beginning of November. It looks great outside right now. This is a live shot. This is our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. So we're looking off toward the northeast, downtown Joplin. You can still see the flags whipping around in the wind. It's going to stay breezy or windy throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. But look at these temps. We continue to warm up. Yesterday, we made it into the upper 70s and then mid 80s for highs. We only started at 60, mid 80s for highs, and I think we're going to make a run at about 80 once again as we get into the daytime hours tomorrow. All right, southerly winds. Now that the sun is set, they've calmed down a little bit, but still we're going to have winds 5 to 15 tonight and gusts a little bit higher than that. In fact, by morning, look at this. Here's 4 a.m. I think most of us will be in that gust range of 30 upwards to 40. So it's going to be a little bit windy out there. Winds calm down a little bit tomorrow afternoon. Look at the wind shift line. You got northwest winds, you got southerly winds. So a front across the region. So the winds calm down a little bit and then they crank up again behind the front out of the north as we get into tomorrow night. and into Thursday morning, and then they will start to calm down a bit. All right, 64 for an overnight low. Starting at 7 a.m., 65, 72 by 10. Of course, windy. We have clear skies across the region. We look pretty good. Not a whole bunch is going on here. We have one wave passing into the Great Lakes, not affecting us. Out to the west, here's our next wave. It's going to drag that cold front through. It just doesn't have much in the way of moisture to work with, so we mainly stay dry as we go through the rest of the week. Let me walk you through the next couple days. Mid-60s in the morning. As we continue through the morning hours, here's the noon hour. Look at this front. You can see the wind shift line diving south. Most of us near 80 ahead of it. As we go into the afternoon, the front dives through. Temperatures start to drop. We get cloud cover, which filters in as we go into the afternoon and the evening hours. Tomorrow night, we drop back upper 40s, so quite a bit cooler. And then on Thursday, a lot of clouds. I do think a few showers will track across our southern counties, but I really think most of us are going to stay dry. But notice the temperatures. We're sitting upper 50s, so there's a pretty big switch compared to what we have seen over the past couple days, and then into the upper 30s by the time we get into Friday morning. Day planner tomorrow, 70 at 9, 78 by 1, 71 dropping as we get into the afternoon. But the nice fall-like temperatures closer to where we should be return late this weekend to the weekend. Look at this, mid-60s Saturday. Weak wave passes by into Sunday. I'm going to keep it dry, but temperatures stay into the 60s. Let's go to Monday. Highs into the 60s. We see this next Tuesday, so we get a really nice stretch of very nice fall-like weather as we go through about the next 7 to 10 days. 81 tomorrow, near record highs. Let's go 59, cooler on Thursday. 62 Friday, 66s as we head into the weekend. Should be dry, and we stay mainly into the 60s all the way through next week. Nice stretch, fall-like weather.
Well, a new theory has emerged relating to the Earth's creation billions of years ago. Scientists widely agree an ancient planet that they named Theia likely smashed into the Earth as it was forming, spewing debris that formed the moon we see today. A new theory suggests molten slabs of Theia could have embedded themselves within Earth's mantle after impact before solidifying, which means portions of the ancient planet could rest just below 1,800 miles, or just 1,800 miles below the Earth's surface. Pretty cool. Well, coming up in sports, college basketball season is right around the corner. Hear from the Pitt State men's and women's teams ahead of their season openers. John Dales has that and more up next.
College basketball season is only a couple days away. Pitt State men's and women's hoops are hoping to surprise some people this year. The Gorillas men's squad was picked to finish 11th in the MIAA preseason coaches poll. Now, head coach Jeff Boschee says he's excited about a number of things, one of those being the size they brought in during the offseason. PSU begins the 23-24 campaign in the Central Region tip-off, playing St. Cloud State and Sioux Falls over in Kansas City this weekend, and the Gorillas are excited to play a real game.
We're going to try to play hard. We're going to try to play together. We're going to try to represent the school the right way, and we'll see what happens. But I like our guys, and I think we got size this year compared to if we can keep them healthy. And that's been the big struggle. The first part of the season here is just keeping all of our bigs healthy, and if we can keep them healthy, it definitely gives us a little bit more dynamic than what we had last year with not having the inside presence.
They should be excited about the energy that we're going to bring this year. Everyone on the court is going to have energy, good energy, not bad energy.
Meanwhile, Pitt State women's basketball picked to finish third in the conference in the preseason coaches poll. Now, after an off-season team trip to Spain and an exhibition against KSU, Amanda David likes the spot her group is in.
It's a very competitive group, a very driven group, and so they want to compete at a high level. They hold themselves to a very high standard, I feel like, and I think we have an opportunity to go and play against some of the best, and we'll face off against these GAC teams, and they'll be ready to go. I mean, everybody's going to be giving us the #1 shot. Like I said, we're not sneaking up on anybody this year.
We got a good group of freshmen. They're very nosy. They all like to work hard, but they're really good people off the floor as well, and I think Gorilla Nation is going to like what they see from all of them.
Meanwhile, Pitt State Soccer announced yesterday it found its first head coach to lead the program. That's Wes Brandstetter. And PSU Athletic Director Jim Johnson says it should be a great fit.
You have to look a little bit at, starting a program from scratch is a little bit different than stepping into an existing program. And he had some great ideas of how to do that. He has some great recruiting contacts in the Dallas area, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Kansas City. He's already well established there in recruiting that he's done in his previous job. And so it just became fairly obvious fairly quickly that he checked a lot of boxes that we were looking for.
Over to JUCO women's basketball. NEO gets its first win of the season this evening. The Lady Norse do so comfortably, 91-52. They take down Oklahoma Wesleyan's JV squad. NEO's next game is Friday against Independence. That's all for sports. Back with more news after this.
A new survey shows 3 out of 4 Americans would prefer a 4-day work week. The poll, taken by Gallup in collaboration with Bentley University, says the option would still amount to a 40-hour work week. That would be 4 consecutive 10-hour days. In the survey of 3,200 working adults, 77% believe the 4-day work week would be ideal. Well, a growing number of Americans are working multiple jobs, and that's according to the October jobs report from the Labor Department. Patrick Cornell has what experts say is behind the federal data and who is leading that trend.
Juggling multiple gigs. The latest jobs report from the Labor Department shows nearly 8.4 million people had multiple jobs in October. That's the highest number since the start of the pandemic. And women appear to be leading that trend. The federal data shows nearly 6% of women worked multiple jobs in October. That's compared to 4.7% of men.
Our cost of living has almost tripled since 2020.
Experts say people may be taking on additional jobs to offset high inflation, which has been easing but is still painfully high for some households. Nonprofits like the United Way say inflation is outpacing wage growth, and that's making it harder for them to help families.
Wages do not reflect how important they are to everyday living.
Remote work is also offering more flexibility and opportunities for workers to manage several jobs from home. And there's also fear that layoffs could have people looking for supplemental jobs, but one economist says layoffs are actually historically low right now.
Companies are reluctant to lose their workers, and they're willing to negotiate even higher salaries to keep them.
U.S. employers added only 150,000 jobs last month. That's the smallest gain since June, signaling the economy is slowing and signaling that the Federal Reserve's action to tame inflation may be working.
The question is, how quickly is it working? We're still far from the 2% target, but inflation has come down quite a bit.
Well, a new report shows U.S. consumers continue to rack up credit card debt. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York says credit card balances hit a new record, surpassing $1 trillion. That's a 40% increase from the beginning of 2021. Prior research showed Americans went on a spending spree this summer, buying everything from trips to concert tickets.
So we're talking about record levels of credit card debt, record high interest rates as well. The average credit card charges 20.72%. So I think it's all related. We're talking about higher balances, higher interest rates. Inflation is really contributing to this as well.
Experts say credit card debt will likely go even higher now that the holiday shopping season is underway. Coming up, we'll check out a new game show on Fox and see who'll be hosting SNL next week. A new trivia game show is coming to Fox. A late-night talk show host heads to satellite radio and more. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has all the latest in the Hollywood Nation.
Let's show them what true artistry looks like.
Hart leads, Momoa hosts, and Lowe quizzes in the Hollywood Nation.
Let's light it up.
Rob Lowe teams back up with Fox for a new game show. The 911 Lone Star actor is the host and producer of the trivia quiz challenge, The Floor. The game features 81 contestants standing on 81 squares, facing off in timed quiz duels for a chance to win $250,000. It premieres January 2nd on Fox.
Jason, what's up, man?
Jason Momoa returns to Saturday Night Live. The Aquaman star will host the sketch comedy series for a second time on November 18th. Momoa will be joined by musical guest Tate McRae, who will release her new album Think Later December 8th. James Corden heads to satellite radio. The former host of The Late Late Show teams up with SiriusXM to launch This Life of Mine with James Corden. The new weekly celebrity show will feature in-depth interviews with stars talking about the people, places, moments, and memories that made them who they are today. It will premiere early 2024.
I'm trying to start from a place of positivity.
Chef Carmy is coming back for thirds. FX renewed its Emmy-nominated series The Bear for Season 3. It's expected to return in 2024.
Okay, guys, listen up.
And Kevin Hart goes for gold in today's first looks. Netflix released the trailer for the comedy thriller Lift, featuring Hart leading a crew of international thieves to steal $500 million in gold aboard a passenger plane flying 40,000 feet in the air. The film is set to debut on the streamer January 12th.
Is everybody in position?
You're good to go. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Some good picks there. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of meerkats at the Houston Zoo enjoying some leftover Halloween treats. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.